here we are. I'm Tom Osman, and this is Whatever Comes Next, the podcast where I explore the world of underground and independent music making. And on today's episode, I am talking with two-thirds of rock group KARLA KVLT, who have just released their debut album on Exile on Mainstream Records, Thunderhunter. And in this interview, I talk with Markus E. Lipka, guitarist and former EISENVATER founder and main man, and his son, Johann Wientjes, I hope I pronounced that correctly, who plays drums, heavy drums, in fact, is how it's listed on Bandcamp, and heavy they are indeed. The only member of the band that I didn't talk to was Teresa Matilda Curtens, who happens to be Joe's wife and Marcus's daughter-in-law, and she provides vocals and bass in the band. And it's a very cool configuration and a sound that they have between the three of them. There are, I suppose, aspects of Black Sabbath that you could hear in the music. There are, which we discussed, sonic elements of Swans that you'll hear on the record, particularly kind of early Swans, like sort of Filth, Cop, Young God era Swans. But one of the things that makes them sound, in my opinion, quite different is the vocals of Teresa. So it's like you kind of have this slightly doomy, almost kind of like minimalist in terms of the guitars and the bass, dark rock music with the really heavy drums. Like I said, often there's quite a lot of like rolls and flourishes in the drums. Like they tend to be sort of the busiest aspect of the music, while the guitars hang back most of the time, and the bass as well. And then over the top of it is Teresa's singing, which is this kind of like clear and beautiful, but also kind of cold, slightly menacing vocal delivery style. And the whole thing together is very, very cool, and not your typical kind of like growling heavy rock or metal music. And it's also particularly interesting if you listen to EISENVATER, who were active from the maybe late 80s or early 90s, up until, in fact, just a couple of years ago when Markus disbanded the band and started up KARLA KVLT. They were more of a kind of a noise rock style. Like I would compare them to Zeni Java, or maybe I'm supposed to say Zeni Gava. I've never quite known that. The dirty, rough sounding, aggressive noise rock. EISENVATER is its own thing, very, very cool thing, but quite different to KARLA KVLT. And what is also different is Joe and Teresa's other band, Melting Palms, which is kind of like a dreamy shoegaze band. Also very, very cool and quite interesting when you listen to them and you hear Teresa's delivery, even though she's not doing anything really dramatically different in either band, the tone and the delivery still comes across with a very different kind of atmosphere. It's kind of soothing and dreamlike and breezy somehow on Melting Palms, but it is very, very much not like that on KARLA KVLT. I really like the sound that they've created. I think Thunderhunter is a really, really cool album. I strongly suggest that you check it out, which you can do going over to KARLA KVLT's Bandcamp page, which is, by the way, KARLA KVLT, but I guess you've seen that in the description of this episode. You can listen to the album entirely on Spotify. You can download it from Bandcamp. You can buy it on CD and vinyl together, either from the band's Bandcamp page, or you can go to Exile on Mainstream and get it there. The band are planning to play some shows, although Joe and Teresa have just recently had a baby, so there may not be so many opportunities to tour extensively, but if you get the opportunity to see them play, you definitely should do so. If I get the opportunity to see them play, I definitely will do so. And if you do, there should be copies of the album that you can get at shows. I think that that's about all that needs to be said. You can go follow the band on Instagram. You can go follow me at Tom Osman Sounds on all social media. You can check out what I'm doing musically at tomosmansounds.com. And with that, there is nothing else to be said, but Markus and Joe of KARLA KVLT, take it away. to meet you.
Yeah.
Hi, Markus.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Joe. Nice for having us. Thanks.
Oh, pleasure. Thank you for joining me. So anyway, you are 2/3 of KARLA KVLT.
Yes,
I guess it's correct to say. And Markus, I know that you have a long history of music making, and I see some impressive guitars behind you. Which of these did you use on Thunderhunter?
From the ones you can see right now?
Yeah.
None.
Okay.
Wait just a sec. That one is what I used. The classic Les Paul.
Yes. Yeah, so no flying V's for the current project.
No, not yet.
No, yeah, okay. Was that something you played for EISENVATER?
This one is my EISENVATER guitar. A friend of mine built it for me.
Cool.
This is the only one which exists.
And his name is also Tom, right?
Yeah, really, indeed, yeah. He's also a Tom.
Yeah, Toms are everywhere. There are so many of us.
Yeah, indeed. In my phone list, there are probably 15 or 20 Toms.
Yeah. And the white one? What about the white guitar? What is its history?
I used this guitar just for some recordings for EISENVATER 4. And after this, just for Rossburger with weird tunings. And so this is hanging on that wall since 4 years.
Okay.
Non-touched.
Waiting for its time to come again.
Yeah, maybe. Not the only guitars.
Yeah, I understand. So, so like I have some other questions about, your history, and also, Joe, for you about some of your other projects. But the main topic, of course, is your debut record with KARLA KVLT, which is coming out this Friday, I think.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
And it's Exile on Mainstream is the label, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Correct, yeah.
And you have some history with this label, or this is the first time you worked with them?
No, it's the first time that we worked with Andreas Kohl. Yeah, but yeah, it's very, very, very nice to have you on this work, because he's very friendly, and I think he's doing some great work. Yeah.
And when I think of the name, I think this sounds like it might be a German name. Is it a German label?
Yes, it is.
So how did that come about that you got that you worked with them? Like, did you finish the album and then you were looking for labels? What was the story behind that?
Let me think. I have to remember. I met Andreas, I think, just once while we had some shows with EISENVATER and Bellrope, a doom band, which also released one album on Exile. And then I had a small talk with him, and he was a really nice guy. And we built these songs and recorded them. And right after we decided to make an album with that stuff, I thought about who could release this. And immediately I remembered Andreas, and I called him and told him about this stuff and sent him, I guess, 2 rough mixes from 2 songs, or I do not remember exactly. And he was interested there already. Yeah, and then I don't know. It was everything happened really fast, and as a thing which was planned by the universe or something like
That's cool.
that.
It's nice when the universe helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
So you have this dynamic of the two of you and Teresa on bass and vocals, and Teresa, Joe, is your wife.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I think is a really interesting combination to have Joe's wife and Marcus's daughter-in-law,
Yeah.
and the three of you together. And obviously, Joe, you're also in another band. I think just the one band with Teresa, Melting Palms.
Yes.
Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, that's
So
right.
it's really interesting. Like, you know, there's a big difference between this project and Melting Palms, and also different to EISENVATER as well. So I really like the new album. I really like the atmosphere. I like the power of it as well. And
Yeah, thanks a lot.
one of the things I think is really cool about it is you've all got these, I think, quite distinct roles. So like Joe, I think one of the things that stands out in the album is the drumming is really powerful. And I like how on Bandcamp, it says that you play, it doesn't say you play drums, it says you play heavy drums.
Yeah.
And I think like, yeah, they are heavy drums.
It's the truth.
And then like the bass and the vocals for Teresa have this really cool effect. She's sort of like got this sort of like, and again, her style in KARLA KVLT is very different. So like, it's very kind of like, I don't even know if I want to say it's cold, but it's like a very kind of like controlled, like I feel like this is maybe someone who's going to like do something to me, like something kind of evil, and I don't know what it is, but it's like very calm. And then Marcus, you have your guitars through it, which a lot of the time are just kind of like very, very calm, while like, you know, the drums are like doing all these crazy things. You're just like, you're just there, you know, doing your thing, very cool. And then from time to time, like later on in the album, there are like a few bits where the guitars like start doing things like a little bit more crazy. So like, I really like the way that you have this dynamic between the three of you. When, like, I imagine that the two of you probably first played music a long time ago together. Like, what's the origin of you two actually playing music together?
My dad and me, or Teresa and me? What?
Your dad and you, yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's some kind of a special thing that I'm in a band with my dad. Yeah, because we were not like the typical father-son dudes that I going playing football. My dad is on his side and is pushing me. Yeah, so yeah, it's a special feeling for me that we start this band and yeah, create something like a family portrait out of it. So yeah, but it's the first time that I start playing in bands like 15 years ago or so. So yeah, it's a new thing that we made this one. Yeah, but I really enjoy to play with my father.
And what was that like? You know, like starting out when you've got a dad who's, you know, like pretty well known in certain circles playing music, like well respected. Was that yeah, like what impact do you think that had when you were in bands? Like, did that kind of get you some credibility with other people, like knowing who your dad was when you were in bands?
Yeah, sometimes it was like when I played with my dream pop shoegaze band and I met some older metalheads and I told them, yeah, my father playing EISENVATER. Is like, oh yeah, really? I saw him in the 90s. Very brutal, very heavy. And it's like, oh yeah. So yeah, it's a little bit of crazy. So, but I have no idea if this gives us credibility. maybe not.
And what, like, you know, like when you were growing up, like Joe, how early on were you aware of what your dad was doing musically, and how early on did you decide that you wanted to make music yourself? And was it always drums that you knew you wanted to do?
Yeah, first I got into rock music when I was like maybe 6 or 7. Yeah, but with a couple of years later, I start to listen to some more heavier stuff. Yeah, I think the first band that I really enjoyed was Slipknot. Yeah, and I think that was the beginning. And after that, I wanted to start a band with a friend, but he wants to play guitar, so I have to choose drums. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, I like to play drums. It's very cool. So you don't have to know a lot of harmonic stuff, and you can do rhythms and yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So, Marcus, what about for you? Like, were you happy with the idea that your son would start making music?
Yes, I was and I am happy about that. On the other hand, it's to me it's a natural thing because I grew up similar. My parents also play music, so from the first day of my life in this body and mind, there was live music. I was in a live music environment all the time, special music, because my parents are Baroque nerds.
Okay.
This is my real root, actually. But Bach,
Yeah.
Something like this. Yeah, so that was my way, and for me it was natural to learn instruments and to feel music deep and intense, really, really early in my life. And this is an aspect I'm really grateful for.
Yeah.
It's such a present. I don't know. It's a really big treasure. And so, in this case, to me, it's a natural thing that once Joe and me we played together. It was actually pretty late when I think about it right now. I mean, in this constellation, so we three, we played, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago. We played the first time together for 2 days, and yeah, it didn't really work. I mean, it didn't work, and we quit it after 2 days. And then I think it's 2 years ago that we quit EISENVATER, finally. So I quit it. For me, it's history, and that's it. I think, a couple of weeks after that, I got a call from Joe, and he asked if he said, let's go in the rehearsal room and make some noise.
The universe told you. It was like, oh, you finished one project. It is time for another one to come. And then the phone rings.
Probably. Probably. Yeah, and that worked damn good. I mean, we didn't have any plan, no desires, nothing. We just played, and the first day of these rehearsals, we had the first song, or
Yeah.
And then it continues that way. Every time we play each week for about half a year, for sure. Every week we met and played and made songs. And I remember the song which was the fastest was Karma.
Yeah.
Nee, no,
Oh,
Karma.
yeah.
The the way the song is right now on the album was the way we played it the first time,
Mm.
improvised, except the vocals. And we played this that way for 7, 8 minutes, and after that, we knew it's finished. It's, that's the song. So, and yeah,
Yeah, there was
and
some kind of great experience that we started making music, and it was like it feels very natural
Mm.
that we
yeah,
we play together. So yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool because I was going to ask you if you had some kind of plan when you started the band. Like, did you think we want to sound a particular way or have a particular atmosphere, but you just
no,
naturally played together and you went, oh,
yeah,
this
we
is what we
just
sound like.
played and yeah, that's what happened. The result is that.
And did you always have the idea that you wanted to have Teresa singing, or was there a time where you thought maybe it might be instrumental or you might have another person separate who'd do the
No,
vocals?
it was never a thought. It was also a natural thing, like everything.
Yeah.
That she started to sing, and yeah, that was it. That's it.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah. It's a very cool combination.
Yeah, I really like it how she sings, because it's not
Yes.
like we're doing some
Awesome.
heavy stuff and then we got these growls and shouts in it. So yeah, I like it's kind of refreshing that we got these dreamy vocals over it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's something kind of like
Unique.
mysterious and almost like sinister in a way about it, which is interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's like a couple of things I wanted to ask you about specific tracks that stood out to me. So on the track, I think it's the second track, Temple. You've got something that sounds like bells. I guess it's not actually bells. What is that, and who plays that? How did you get that sound?
Um, I added these sounds. These are sample sounds. I played it with the keyboard while the mixing process. It was just an idea, and I just did it, and it worked.
Yeah, it's a cool texture. In general, like going back, Joe, to what we were saying before about you playing heavy drums, how did you did you was there something particular about the way you set up in the room or like the production that you got that sound? Because they are very, very impactful, the way that the drums hit. And I think with this type of music, like a couple of bands that spring to mind, I don't think you really sound like them, but it's like in the same world, like Godflesh and Swans
Oh,
come to mind. And one of the things about both those bands that I love is it's just like, it's the impact. It's like, if you listen to Christbait Rising by Godflesh, it's like, oh, it's like you feel it in your stomach. And
Yeah,
when you
but
listen, what was that?
the difference is, as far as I remember, I mean, EISENVATER always was compared with Godflesh. I
Mm,
didn't really listen to them,
yeah,
but as far as I know, is that do not they do not have any real drumming, but
that's a
it's a
good point. They had drum machines, so maybe that's a bad
yeah,
example. But
and this
thinking
is
thinking about
really
like,
different.
yeah, no, that's very, very true. As I say, it wasn't that I think it sounds like those bands, but it's like when I think about the impact of those bands and like early Swans, like Cop and Young God, it's like you
Yeah,
feel the power of it. And I think sometimes bands try to capture that power, but if you don't feel like the vibrations in the instruments, it just doesn't have that same impact. So it's like one of the things I like with your album is like you can feel the drums, like you feel them hitting. So I wondered, like, how do you get that sound and that impact from the drums on the record?
yeah.
and
Same
first of
like
all,
you. Yeah, for me, I like to. I got this experience that Teresa and my dad started to play Thunderhunter in the rehearsal room, and it was like a full body experience because yeah, everything was resonating. Yeah,
Yeah.
my full body was like oh Jesus, what happened? Yeah, and it for me was like a natural thing that I want to resonate my drum shells and yeah.
So is it just about the playing? Like it's not really anything about like the setup in the room or the production. It's just the actual performance of the drums.
Yeah, but I also think it's some kind of that my dad is doing great work at mixing. So yeah.
So Marcus, I guess that's a question for you. Reveal the secrets about your production techniques.
I'm an amateur with long experience. So this is my second passion
Mm.
after playing music. Yeah, audio mixing.
When did you start getting into that? Like how far back into your playing were you also doing mixing?
I would say in the midst of the 80s
Right.
with four-track tape recorder Tascam 244 like this, and in Yamaha SPX 90. That was my equipment, and at that time I was really impressed by productions from Trevor Horn,
Mm-hmm.
especially Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Welcome to the Pleasure Dome, and also the other one was what's her name? Man, Grace Jones, Slave to the
Ah.
Rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
And those records, I still love them. The production.
Yeah, well produced.
um, Today, I know how they did it,
Yeah.
thanks to the internet. Yeah, that was what makes me interested in audio mixing, and that's maybe the start point, I'd say. And then later, when the things got digital and it was affordable I mean, I did the mix at this place where I'm sitting right now
Mm.
with just a computer and plugins and this thing, and I added amp sim sounds to the real amp sounds and so, and yeah, it's a passion to create a really intense fat atmosphere with those tools. I love to do this.
Yeah, it's very, very cool.
And yeah, the more I did, the better I got, of course.
Yeah, that's like, it's a really interesting insight about Frankie Goes to Hollywood and Grace Jones, because when I started getting into music, like, it's not really very cool, but like, I was into like Prince and loads of like kind of 80s stuff like Simple Minds and Erasure. And the thing
Yeah,
is, like, a lot of it, you know, like the production on some of it is just like amazing. It's so well done.
yeah,
It doesn't necessarily all have the same kind of like energy that you might get from some other things, which are like punk or hardcore or whatever, that might be more raw. But I think that's really cool that you took something from the sounds and you applied that to your own music that you were making.
yeah. And you mentioned the Swans, and also exactly those albums which had a really strong impact to me.
Yeah,
Filth Cop, Young God, these Swans phase smashed me really down, and also Glenn Branca, and all this
yeah,
no wave scene, you know.
yeah.
And of course, also in KARLA KVLT, the song Hekate, this is pure Swans guitar. You
Mm,
know, these glissando sounds and this slow-mo thing and in front of a wall of noise, and yeah, and in combination with the voice of Teresa, that's this contrast. It's nothing which is fighting with each other.
yeah.
It's one natural thing, and that's the magic, man. So if we wouldn't have her voice, and instead of this any guttural vocals or the typical heavy thing, that would be so much less interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah,
I
there's
wouldn't, yeah.
like sonically, you're all kind of like occupying different spaces, and the parts that you play have a very different kind of quality, and altogether it has this really cool impact. But like you said, if you had like a kind of vocals on it, it wouldn't really give you the same dimensions.
Yeah.
There's
That's it.
another track I wanted to ask you about. So in Magna Mater,
Mhm.
you've got this bit about halfway through. I'm always interested when I'm listening to music. I'm like, oh, they're doing something with the time signature. I'm trying to figure out what they're doing with the time signature. You have this shift,
Yeah,
and then it
that
sounds
shape.
like you're going like 4/4/6/4. I don't know if that's like the way you think about it when you're playing it, but like to you when you're doing a part like that, is that like difficult, or it's just like, oh, we're just changing the rhythm. It's no big deal. It just comes naturally.
Yeah, it just happened. I cannot really remember, but we never discussed about
Yeah,
such
like
thing.
how to
Yeah,
structure it.
it just happened, basically.
And
And
for you, Joe,
later
is
we try to analyze what did we play? Oh, it's the same chords.
yeah. I
Yeah,
always figure like for the drummers, that's got to be. I imagine that's the most challenging thing. Like, do you find that quite difficult, Joe, or you're
Um, yeah, for me, it's like I play very, or I think it's some easy, simple stuff. It's nothing like it's gonna be too crazy to play these drum parts. So,
yeah, it's not Meshuggah.
yeah, exactly. And so if I can play these simple patterns, and I can play it very heavy. So yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, keep it simple and heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I
it's
think
a,
it's also cool. Like a lot of it is quite simple, but you have these flourishes, which I think was another thing that was great with Swans, with those early records, is they don't try to impress you with lots of different parts, but you
Yeah.
hear the little changes, and you get kind of like into the rhythm of it, and then you notice the little changes, and it's all very effectively done.
Yeah.
that's a thing of this no wave area, this kind of minimalism. It's actually also a kind of post-punk because it has still a punk attitude in the case of yeah, the guitarists are not practicing 8 hours every day, and you know, just to use the less is more
Yeah,
with really less musical material to get a huge result. And in this spirit, yeah, I mean, I lived these times, yeah, 1980 to 1990. It was this thing, minimalism. Yeah, it's minimalism.
yeah. And you're both, or all of you are based in Hamburg, is that right?
Not anymore.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah.
where are you now, Marcus?
I am still in Hamburg.
Yeah.
Ah, Joe, where are you?
Yeah. Yeah. I was born in Hamburg, but Teresa and I we moved to the south. So now we are living in Friedrichshafen. I think
Okay.
it's the the point where Switzerland begins. So yeah. Yeah, it's
Okay.
very, very, very far away from Hamburg. It's like 800
My
kilometers.
geography is generally not very good. Is that in Bavaria?
Yeah, it's yeah, it's uh, the
Particularly.
Bodensee. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's near Switzerland and Austria.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because funny thing is, like years ago, the first time I ever visited Germany, I visited Hamburg. And after that, when I decided I wanted to live in Germany, it took a while to make it happen. But I thought, like, I want to go to Hamburg. And I couldn't find a way to make it happen. So in the end, I was living in Prague. And then I came to Dusseldorf. And I lived in Dusseldorf, which is a little bit different. I lived in Dusseldorf for 2 years and then moved to Berlin. And then I came back to the UK. So like I have a bit of experience in Germany, but I haven't actually been back to Hamburg for a long time. So obviously, you know, Hamburg has the famous Reeperbahn, and everyone knows that the Beatles went there, and they kind of like, they like kind of got able to handle a crowd before they came back to the UK. But I guess I don't know so much about like local Hamburg music scenes. So like for both of you, you know, like growing up in different generations, how much of an impact do you think Hamburg and the music that was coming through there or coming from there had on the both of you?
Yeah, for me it was like a very great time that we got some very nice musicians in Hamburg, and like if we got some great punk scene and the hardcore punk scene and the garage scene and the 60s surf scene. And yeah, for me I was like enjoying all of it. So yeah, if you want to hang out on the Reeperbahn and want to see some shows, you can see them. So yeah, for me it was a pleasure that I can enjoy all of these different styles of music. And yeah.
And Marcus, what about for you, going further back in Hamburg?
Yeah, with me, there's always a chance to get in a state of grandpa is talking about the war. I'm sorry.
That's cool. I like that could be quite interesting.
Yeah, it's a bit different. I came to Hamburg in 1975 in the age of 10 or 11. I think compared to today, the music scene, I mean, the subcultural music scene in Hamburg today it's sad, it's dead. I mean, in the 80s, I've seen all my favorite bands. I mean, and these clubs do not exist anymore since years, and it's all gone. So to me, musically, Hamburg is kind of nullified. It's gone. So there's nothing I'm connected with, really.
When do you think it lost that?
When did this start?
No, when did it go? I mean, like, yeah, like when did you stop feeling like you had a scene that was valuable?
Yeah, I mean, I never had the intention to be part of any scene. I always enjoyed the position to stay out of all scenes and can jump into one for a while if I want to, or collaborate with different people. But I felt never as a part of any scene. Not even I mean, at least this no wave stuff.
I guess no one in no wave was like kind of trying to be part of a scene. It was all kind of like quite anti-scene.
Indeed, it's part of the philosophy. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but it's funny that we ask a question and we both give completely different answers.
Well, because we talk about different time periods. That's it.
Yeah,
and also tastes. We have different tastes in music. Also, I was never interested in punk. Never.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
because I was too well educated in music.
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
coming from the classical background.
yeah. So I my first connection with punk was actually post-punk.
Yep.
So Killing Joke, Public Image, that's, you know,
Yeah.
maybe Flipper, Flipper,
Yeah, there's
um,
another band that doesn't
and
easily fit in
also
any scene.
and Crass is
Hmm.
a real punk band to me.
Yeah, definitely
I
punk and
listen to
philosophy.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
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 but for me also bands like the OC, so it's got some punk vibes. So yeah, I think punk is a very big name for music. So you can pick any band and put him into this punk corner. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that with a lot of terms, like with black metal, you know, like when some people talk about black metal, they think of like they think of that like very kind of like Dark Throne kind of thing. But then, you know, like Ulva, who started out in that style and they went all electronic. Like I think if you talk to them, they'll say we're black metal. So for them, it's more like an attitude rather than the sonic element of
yeah.
it. So like, and you're like Celtic Frost, like Tom Warrior will be like, I play black metal. It's like, it kind of sounds more like doom or it's avant-garde or whatever. So like, it's very hard to really go like, what is this
Yeah.
exactly?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
got the
it's
same.
ridiculous anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is, we've got different views
Yeah.
to these things. To me, punk, especially the musical punk,
Mm,
just lived about 1 or 2 years and then was died.
yeah.
It was just, I don't know how to call this, but it was dead. And Joe, for him, punk is something different, I think, than for me.
Yeah, like I think I remember, I think it was Chrissy Hind, but maybe there's other people said this. She was like, the thing with punk is once people started enjoying playing music, they got better at the instruments, and then they stopped being punk. They started being new wave.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So,
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
are you how much experience have you had playing together, actually doing shows with Carla Cult?
Yeah, no experience.
zero.
Yeah.
Ah, so what are
Yeah.
your plans now that the album's about to come out?
Yeah, we want to play some shows. Yeah, for the start, we're playing some shows in Germany. Yeah, and yeah, so I'm a father now. So
Congratulations.
yeah, thanks, thanks. But yeah, it's not that easy to play a tour for like 2 weeks or so. Yeah, so
Yeah, especially when both parents are in the
yeah,
band.
both parents. Yeah, so we start like doing some weekend in April, and then we play a show in June, and then in September. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
gonna start. Yeah, and I'm very excited to do it because I think it would be gonna be great. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think like it's music that wants to be
live
played
music.
live.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
live music. Yeah,
Yeah. And also as well, like, you know, when you were describing how you made it, it's like you got in a room together and you start playing. So it definitely sounds like you could have a lot of fun playing live and great for the audiences too.
yeah,
For sure.
And you know, like we've talked about, you know, kind of like the changes of, you know, styles and the changes of making music over the years. One huge change, of course, in the past years has been the way that online streaming services and digital music became such a big thing. A lot of people just listen to music on Spotify, or maybe, you know, if they care about artists, they buy stuff from Bandcamp and they get digital files. But how do you two feel like at this point, you know, you've got other projects and obviously Marcus, you've been making music for ages. How do you feel about this, you know, online world? And it's not just about the music as well, it's like music promotion. How do you manage this modern landscape we have where so much is online?
Yeah.
Not an easy question.
Yeah.
So, I boycott Spotify. So to me, this is a crime, a crime on art. The most people I know listen music from this medium. I don't, and I never missed it. To be honest, I really find the most things I'm looking for, and I'm looking for every day for new stuff I do not know. That's what interests me. On YouTube and Bandcamp also. This is a fair thing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got really problems with things like Spotify and yeah.
It's hard because it feels kind of like it's like a floodgate that opened, and it's like it can't really be reversed, but it's like, what do you do about it? How do you kind of keep people interested in actually really caring about music? You know, because like I think when I see that a band's putting out vinyl, I'm visiting my mom at the moment, but if I was back in my house, you'd be able to see I had vinyl behind me. It's like, if I can listen to stuff on record, I like to listen to it on record. I even have CDs. I have cassettes. I bought a cassette the other day. It's like, there's still a thing.
Yeah.
And I listen to stuff online. It's convenient, but I don't want to lose the physical artifacts for different reasons. You know, like vinyl looks cool. It's nice to have booklets in CDs. So it's kind of a shame if people don't have that.
Because we're used to consume music these ways. So we're able to put on a record or whatever and listen to some music for about 1 hour and just listen and nothing else. But the really young people I know, so maybe 18 years old, they listen only from Spotify, and that's the algorithm thing.
Yeah.
I've got no problem with this because my taste spectrum is that wide. So the algorithms are rich, but those people, they stuck in just one special genre. They addicted for it, which I can't get. I mean, it's really weird.
Yeah, for me, it's like
and this is eine Falle.
A trap.
Yeah, that's it. So and because they get no offers for different things, and they're not able to build up interest at all in other things, and the result is they're overwhelmed by anything which is just a bit out of their spectrum.
I know what you mean, like something that's just like a little bit different to like this kind of quite limited range that they have. And what about for you, Joe?
Really listen and get into music and feel it. And this is something you have to learn.
Well, I think also like there's a little bit of that risk with streaming stuff is I find for me, if I'm listening to something online, it's very easy to go like, oh, I'm bored of that. Let's listen to something else. But if you put on a piece of music, it's kind of like you've made a decision more that you're going to like, I've put this album on, I'm going to listen to this. But Joe, you're not 18, but you are a little bit younger than me. So what's your take on this current trend?
Yeah, I'm not into that I support the Spotify company, but I really love Spotify. Yeah, for me, I listen to Spotify every day. And I also like to listen to vinyl and put in on a record and then listen to the whole record and take it as an experience. But yeah, I can do it if I have time. But if I'm in the car on the way to work, I put on Spotify. Yeah. Or if I going to the park and got headphones on it, I listen to Spotify. So yeah, for me, I really love it that I can find music online, that I can find new music online. And yeah, I also like to going to the record store and looking through vinyl. So yeah, it's a cool thing, but I really enjoy that I get the opportunity to get some physical music stuff with a big picture in it, and I love it, and I buy it, and it's like, oh, I own this piece of music. That's the feeling I got when I buy vinyl.
Yeah.
On the other hand, that I can go and doing sports, and I put my headphones on it and listen to some crazy music from the algorithm. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I used to go around and I had a little cassette player and listen to my music. And, you know, when you're jumping around and you've got your cassette player, like, it fucks up a bit. So it is useful from that point of view. But speaking of the, like, you know, vinyl, the artwork of the album is really, really cool. Who did that? Like, how did you get the design for the album cover?
Yeah, it was like Teresa and I, we got some holidays in Berlin. And yeah, we did some clubbing at a techno club. And after that, we go to an apartment from a friend. He's called Nick Stockman. Yeah, he's playing in a very cool band. It's called Zahn. Yeah,
Oh, I've interviewed one of the guys from Zahn.
Yeah, really? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little while ago, a couple of years ago, when I was actually living in Berlin. But I know them.
Yeah, very nice people.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, and after we went clubbing, we go to this apartment, and Teresa and I, we found this picture from what is now the cover from Thunderhunter. Yeah, and it's some kind of art, and its grandfather painted it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some linoleum cut.
Yeah, like it's really cool. It's really striking, and it goes well with the music for sure. So when I put this out, it's probably going to be next week. So the album will have come out. So where can people get it from? Like, what's the best way for people to get it? Is it going to be available in shops, would you say?
Yeah, it's going to be available at our Bandcamp shop, at Exile on Mainstream Records, and at shows. Yeah.
Ah, yes, at the shows that you're going to be playing. The important merch table. Are you going to have some T-shirts as well? Yeah. Have you made designs for T-shirts?
Yeah, not yet, but it's still in. Yeah, there will be some T-shirts. Yeah.
And so the album's coming out on vinyl. Are there other editions? Are you going to have it on CD as well?
Yeah, there's a CD in it. If you buy the vinyl, you get also this bundle. Or if you buy the CD, you got the vinyl. So yeah.
Whichever way around you want to think of it. Yeah. Very cool. Well, look, thank you both so much for joining me, and thank you for your time. It was really cool to talk to you. And like I say, I think the music's great. I love it. I love discovering, you know, new bands. And even though, you know, like we've talked about all this music that we have loved over the years, but it's always really cool to discover a band that's doing something right now that I really enjoy too. So I hope I will get the chance to see you guys at some point. Maybe I will, when I'm visiting Germany and I'll see that you guys are not too far away, I'll make a point of seeing you guys on stage.
Yeah,
that would be nice.
Oh, and one other thing I wanted to ask you as well. So like in general, if people want to follow the band, you don't have a website, or do you have a website, or you're on Instagram, or what do you use? I don't really like all the social media stuff, but it's kind of unavoidable. So like,
me too.
We got Instagram and Bandcamp, and
cool.
Yeah, Spotify. Yeah,
I will direct people towards those places.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Dude.
It was my pleasure. Until next time.
Yeah.
All the best.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.